The movie begins with a 38-year-old Alice going around, bossing people around over a slight difference in color of the front page of the magazine that she's in charge of editing. She's in Brazil for work and is returning home to Paris. On the way to the airport, she calls Pauline, her friend at work, who informs her that Lise has been by her boss's side ever since Alice left. When Alice demands to talk to the boss, Pauline looks over to see Lise and Vincent headed into his office and pulling down the blinds. He tells Alice that talking to him won't be possible on the plane. Alice is annoyed by a middle-aged man who comes off as too strong. In the meanwhile, a teenage boy's seat has been taken by someone else, and the hostess guides them to sit beside Alice in first class. Alice literally drags him down in the seat so that the other guy doesn't sit there instead, who has just asked her out. Later, Alice is slightly annoyed by the young boy who is having too much fun to have been upgraded to a better class, but soon the plane runs into a bit of strong turbulence, and everyone on the plane gets a good scare. The teenage boy tries to distract Alice, but when the lights go out, Alice grabs his hand out of fear. Soon the turbulence dies down, and everyone goes back to normal. After Alice walks away, though, Balthazar notices that she dropped a flash drive on the floor and runs after her to hand it to her. But unfortunately, Alice has walked on ahead and gets into the car waiting to take her home, not knowing that Balthazar is chasing after her car to hand her the dropped flash drive. The next scene shows us Alice entering her workplace and being greeted by Lise, her work rival, who is attempting to take over Alice's job. Alice, angered at this, goes on to talk to Vincent about Lise, but to her surprise, he tells her that Lise is a better fit as she's more daring and uninhibited, whereas Alice is uptight and unwilling to take risks. We also find out that Lisa has been married 3 times, both to men and women, whereas Alice got divorced 8 years ago and since then has become a workaholic. All in all, her boss thinks that Lisa has a more daring attitude, which allows the audience to dream bigger. He suggests that Alice take up the editorial post of another magazine, which will allow her more time to spend with her daughter. Fuming, Alice leaves. At home, her ex-husband visits to pick up their daughter Zoe, and after Alice says goodbye to them, she returns to work. Adding to her frustration is the lost flash drive. After a lot of searching, Alice notices a note left by Pauline and calls the number. Balthazar picks up, but he's at a bar during happy hour, and it is very loud. Alice tells him who she is and asks about her flash drive. Balthazar tells her that he has it, and she asks where she can meet him. He gives her the address of the bar, and Alice hurries over. Once there, Balthazar introduces her to his friends and tells her that there was a miscommunication over the phone and he does not have her flash drive, but it's at his home. Meanwhile, 2 of Alice's co-workers spot Alice at the bar and are very surprised to see the uptight Alice at a place like this. They follow Alice and Balthazar outside, where Balthazar is helping Alice put on a helmet. From a distance, it seems as if the 2 of them are sharing a kiss, and Alice's co-workers waste no time in taking a picture and instantly posting to Twitter. Balthazar drives Alex to his house on his pink Hello Kitty scooter, which he explains he got by mistake as the advertising picture of it was black and white. At home, we meet Balthazar's dad, who is dating a very young girl. He has a salacious opinion on an upcoming show of his, and then Balthazar looks for Alice's flash drive. Alice thanks him and leaves, but Balthazar asks if she'd like to have coffee with him someday, and Alice, realizing that he's asking her out, tells him that it is not her style to date young boys like him. At work the next morning, Alice notices that all of her co-workers are whispering and laughing at her. When Pauline arrives, Alice asks what's going on, and Pauline shows her the picture of her and Balthazar titled A Cougar. Later, Alice is talking to her boss about something work-related when he appreciates her for going for a younger guy, telling her that he likes different things, as it aligns with the spirit of the magazine, Rebel. Later, Alice discusses this with her friend, who suggests that she hang out with this boy and be friendly to him and make it seem like the rumors are true, because if she wants to keep her job, she has to keep her boss happy, and the boss does not like workaholics like her. Alice is skeptical but decides to go for it, changing her outfit to a sexier one. Alice arrives at Balthazar's college. Balthazar is shocked but happy to see her there. He gets even more thrilled when she asks him if he's free to hang out tonight at an art exhibition. At home, Alice talks to Zoe about popular music bands and memorizes their names to mention them in front of Balthazar to keep up her ruse. They meet up at the exhibition, and Balthazar entertains himself with one of the interactive pieces. Alice personally believes that the exhibition is very embarrassing. When Claude, the artist, shows up and asks her opinion, she flatters him, but when Claude acts arrogantly towards Balthazar and asks for his honest opinion, Balthazar gives a very insulting review. This offends Claude, and he leaves. Alice tells him that no one here speaks their honest opinion. They head over to the balcony, where Alice tries to keep pretending that she's in love with Balthazar, especially since Lisa catches their eye. Alice is actually hoping to run into her boss so that she can show off Balthazar and her apparent relationship. Lisa soon comes over and strikes up a conversation, mentioning that their boss called and said that he cannot make it tonight. After Balthazar refuses to join, Lisa offers him a joint. She begins to laugh, asking Alice where she found him. Angrily, Alice snatches the joint and takes a long drag, and Lisa leaves. Outside, Alice keeps smoking the joint while she gets a call from her sister. Her sister is trying to set her up with her gynecologist, Richard, and is asking Alice why she's late. Balthazar overhears the word doctor, and Alice pretends that her daughter is at the hospital. Alarmed, Balthazar jumps in front of a cab to stop it and drags the man sitting inside out so Alice can go to the hospital. As the cab drives away, Alice smiles to herself at Balthazar's actions. The dinner with the gynecologist doesn't go that well, as Alice is very high at this point and keeps blundering, which is unlike her usual uptight self. The next scene shows Alice taking Balthazar to a runway show. Alice is taking care to dress as boldly as possible to make an impression on her boss. The runway is a big thing, as the owner of the company, Kimmel, is also attending. However, Balthazar embarrasses himself first by asking loudly who Kimmel is, and then once the show starts, one of the models trips and falls, making Balthazar jump to the rescue. This is out of the ordinary, and everyone stares at the boy. Kimmel asks if this is part of the show. At the party later on, Alice introduces Balthazar to her boss, and Lisa wastes no time in peppering Balthazar with questions. Noticing this, Alice drags her young boyfriend onto the dance floor and tries to dance sensuously with him. Lisa, however, has figured out that they are pretending and tells this to her boss. One of Zoe's friends notices and tries to take a picture, but Alice notices this in time and leaves. This makes the boss think that they have snuck off to have a love session. This turns out to be true, as once Balthazar drives Alice to her house, he kisses her. After learning that her daughter isn't home, Alice invites him in, and the two of them spend the night together. The next morning, it is raining hard, and Alice feels bad to send Balthazar out in such weather, and lets him stay until the rain stops. He notices a book written by Alice, and is intrigued, but when Alice tries to take the book from him, they stand up in a compromising position. This is the moment when Elizabeth and Zoe enter the house, and Alice pretends that Balthazar is her intern. Alice ushers them out, but not without giving him a kiss. A few days later, they meet up again, with Balthazar going out of his way to leave cute little notes on an iPod for Alice before he picks her up, and they go out for a date. Later, in bed, Balthazar asks her why she has chosen to date him, but before she can answer, he dismisses his own question. The next scene shows us Alice at a work meeting, which is being dominated by Lisa and her crude ideas for the next issue's theme. Alice is in the corner, texting with Balthazar and laughing at Lisa. The boss asks her what Alice thinks, and Lisa makes fun of her, saying that Alice must have boring ideas, like armpit stains or about high heels. But Alice surprises them all with a bold idea about transcending stereotypes. She says that she's earned the label of a MILF and a cougar just because she's dating a young guy, but she isn't bothered, and that they should have a similar theme about fantasies and sexual activities and not care about stereotypes. That night, Alice stares at herself in the mirror, thinking that she should tell Balthazar the truth about why she started going out with him. After all, it's not a good idea to be dating him anyway, as her face will be covered in wrinkles in a few years. Afterwards, she meets up with Balthazar, and he takes her to a really cool futuristic-looking building, which he loves being an architecture student. They share a drink, while Balthazar confesses how much he loves being with her and seeing her, and how when she's not around, he keeps hoping to see her. Alice is really touched but asks him if he really thinks this is a good idea. She has a grown daughter, and if they think ahead, she will be 50 when he'll be 30. She then says that it's best if they don't continue with this. At work, her idea has been a hit, and her boss is very happy with her. Her friend Simon asks her if she told Balthazar the truth about the promotion before breaking up with him, and she says no. At school, Zoe gets into a fight with another girl who showed her a video of Alice dancing with Balthazar. Alice's ex-husband is angry at her, telling her that she will have to explain herself to Zoe. But Alice defends herself by saying why is it okay for him to date someone so much younger than him, but if she does it, it's bad. He replies that it's okay for him because he's a man. It is an important day at Rebel Magazine's office as Tracy Kimmel is visiting. However, she does not like the look of the male model, and after rejecting the other models, she asks about the guy she saw at the runway, referring to Balthazar. Vincent thinks it's a marvelous idea and says yes. When Alice tries to talk to him about it, he tells her that if she wants the promotion, she will get her boyfriend to pose for the shoot. Desperate, Alice calls Balthazar, but he doesn't pick up as he is too busy moping around and getting drunk after the breakup. His father returns home to see the place littered and beer bottles and junk food wrappers just as Alice shows up to see Balthazar. His father gives Balthazar his own clothes and pretends to be the one drunk and miserable over a girl so that Alice doesn't think it was Balthazar. He and Alice go out and talk, and Alice nervously brings up the topic of the shoot, but Balthazar isn't too happy about the idea. On the day of the shoot, Alice keeps calling Balthazar and telling everyone that he's on his way. Simon tells her that she should just come clean. The photographer is a really rude woman and keeps being a pain in the neck for the entire crew. However, just as Alice is losing hope, Balthazar shows up and is taken directly to hair and makeup. There, Simon goes to talk to him and apologizes to him about the whole thing, saying it was his idea, not knowing that Alice never told Balthazar the truth. The shoot begins with Balthazar angry at Alice, and it goes very wrong when the rude photographer pisses off Balthazar and he storms off. When Alice goes to talk to him, he confronts her about the whole thing and everyone hears. Alice tries to talk to Vincent, who tells her that she is throwing away 10 years of friendship between them over this, and then fires her, telling her that she will now have plenty of time to write or find a new vocation. Alice leaves disheartened over the job, but even more so about Balthazar. She keeps finding things that remind her of him, like the note he stuck on the tree and even his show, which had somehow gotten behind her mirror from the very night he visited. Finally, Alice decides to go see him. She heads over to his college and asks his friends where Balthazar is because she really needs to talk to him. They point her downstairs, but another student mistakes her for a guest speaker and guides her to a classroom for the lecture. Accidentally, Balthazar is sitting there too, and Alice decides to go along with it. She tries speaking about infrastructures and modernizations, but through that tells Balthazar that she made a mistake. The students start asking questions, but Balthazar shuts them up and asks Alice a direct question. Alice admits that she screwed up and can't stop thinking about him while other students begin clapping. Just then, the original guest speaker enters as well. Balthazar comes down and asks her what this means, and Alice kisses him in front of everyone. Months later, Alice is headed to the printing press to oversee something and tells Simon that they will need to start from scratch. Later, we see Alice going to see Balthazar and showing him the finished copies of her new book, something she has written inspired by her own relationship with him. The two of them kiss, and this is where the movie ends. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.